Working hard for our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique together. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. Again, we have a moment in time to talk using radio and social media to connect. So all those who are listening to me via Vibes 101.3 FM and 106.3 FM, welcome. Those who are viewing me on Facebook and YouTube, I want to encourage you to share the live so more and more people will connect with the program, will discover the program. I want to start off this morning by saying sometimes there are people in organizations who believe that they're smarter than the general public. But with technology and with information being disseminated in real time, it's very difficult to fool the general public. The NNP put out a statement yesterday, a release yesterday, and people are still laughing. And the reason why people are laughing is because people saw what happened to Keith Mitchell in real time. It's not like they're making up the thing. In real time. So the NNP then put out a statement, and even the littlest child is laughing at that statement. And it reads, Dr. Keith Mitchell in good spirits. The NNP assures all Grenadians, friends, and family that the Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell is well. While battling the flu, he remained committed to delivering his budget response to the nation. So he's battling the flu, but he still remains committed to responding to the budget. All right? But if you have the flu at that age, then wisdom would tell you not to do this thing that you say you want to do, right? To address the budget presentation. You had that opportunity to do so in the Parliament of Grenada. You refuse. You walked out. And you go into Happy Hill to do it. So the NNP is saying he has the flu, full of excuses, right? And they went on to say, however, while sharing a heartfelt story of witnessing the passing of a close family member last night, he became emotionally overwhelmed and discontinued his presentation. So, but that was not emotionally overwhelmed. The man fell ill. He fell ill and he almost collapsed. He fainted, or he as he claimed he had a blackout or a blockout, right? He subsequently walked out of the event feeling well, based on what they are saying. He's in good spirit. He appreciate your concern and wish and well wishes. Folks, I am saying that the NNP, they need to be very careful. All right? Because people see this whole thing in real time. So to come and make up some story and put out some release out there with the hope that they would get sympathy, this thing would not sell. It would not fly. In real time, this thing happens.
You could build the best building. If you don't have the equipment, the medication, the trained staff, and the way you treat them, sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
So this happened in real time. The guy was speaking about the hospital and staff and equipment and that kind of thing. But you know, NNP put out that story and they believe the release that they put out will fly, and people are going to believe that. Thousands and thousands of people saw what took place in real time. In real time. So putting out a story like that with the hope of fooling people will not fly, it will not sell. This thing happened in real time.
You could build the best building. If you don't have the equipment, the medication, the trained staff, and the way you treat them, sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
But look at that. They're clapping. Look, they're clapping, you know. The supporters of the NNP, they heard Keith Mitchell saying, brothers and sisters, I am blocking out. And this is a simple way to say bad feelings, or a simple way to say I'm fainting, or a simple way to say I am not feeling well and I will faint or I will collapse. That's a simple way to see that, right? But the people who are in that audience, they clapping. So it goes to show the level that they are at. I said so last night. The majority of NNP supporters cannot read, cannot write, and cannot reason. They cannot understand. So you could be telling them something, but they cannot understand what you're telling them. So Keith Mitchell there speaking, and they don't understand what the man is saying. They don't. But you know what is very telling? Is the reaction of some. Let's go back a bit, right?
Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
The man said so. Clarice Modeste, who's supposed to be a medical doctor in whatever field, the minute time you hear Keith Mitchell say that, brothers and sisters, I'm blocking out, you're supposed to, at least you, supposed to react quicker and smarter than this, right? It's simple. It is simple as that. You see? But look at the woman here she's in the black. Look at her. Right. So the man gasped. You realize he gasped. And he said, brothers and sisters, I'm blocking out. The man gasped for breath. So Clarice Modeste, who is a medical doctor in a particular field, she should at least read the signs and react differently and quicker. Look at this. Is that a clap? Look. Look at this. Look. And then she get up now. Look at her. Get up now. And you're saying to yourself, but isn't this woman a medical doctor in a particular field? But Kate Lewis ain't even get up as yet. Kate Lewis still sitting. Don't even talk about Roland Bola, who's at the top. Roland Bola is sitting there. Look at this. Sitting like normal. Like normal. This elderly lady here, usually she quickly gets up to lend some assistance. But it speaks deeper, right? To what is at play right here within NNP. It says a lot about the NNP. A lot. Right? It says a lot. It is sad. It is sad. Terribly sad. A person says they blocking out, or they feel they go faint, they feeling sick, they're not feeling well, that kind of thing. What you do is to quickly put the person to sit, no matter who the person is. All right? The minute time the man said this,
The medication, the trained staff, and the way you treat them. Sisters and brothers, I'm black.
right? So you see, it took pretty long to say another word, or the next word, or the next statement, the next whatever, right? So the guy was actually not feeling well. He's actually sick. I'm no doctor, but this is layman. This is basic. You could red flag that easy. First aid, EMT, anybody who been around that would know that.
Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
Right. Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out. The minute time the man says sisters and brothers, I am blacking out, at least Clarice Modeste, who is a medical doctor who is trained in a particular area in medicine, should at least reacted differently. Should at least, stand up or ask him to sit down or something, or have them assist him to sit down and relax. And then somebody else could speak and then he can go back on. Because the gentleman is 78 years, somewhere down there. He's not young, right? He may pretend that he's young, but he's not. It's sad, very, very sad. But the reaction of some of the people in the room says a lot about the state of the NNP.
Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
So from the time the man said so, the amount of seconds that pass, right? So let's the amount of seconds.
Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
Right. That's 1, 2, 3. Right. And then he gasped. Right? So he said, sisters and brothers, I'm blocking out. And then he started gasping. You realize? He gasped. His breath became different there in terms of, his breathing. And that's about 3-4 seconds already.
Out.
Right, 3-4 seconds. And then another 3-4-5 seconds. Started to clap. Look at this. Look at Marcella. Look at this. Look. I mean, it's terrible that people who especially people who you expect to react, swifter, they did not do so. At least Clarice Modeste, who is a trained medical doctor in a particular field, and she was on the front table, the head table, right? On, and then you have, let me see this.
Sisters and brothers, I'm blacking out.
Right. So it's amazing because look at this. Kate Lewis, her gesture. Look at this. I mean, give Emlyn what is hers. At least she tried to help. She was closest there, and at least she tried to help. But Clarice Modeste gets up close to Kate Lewis on that table, right? And look at Kate Lewis. Kate Lewis still sitting there. In fact, what her hand now on her chin, and look at Roland Bowler at the back. Look at this. I mean, let's look at this again. Look at this. Lord have mercy. Kate Lewis and move yet now. Just, the woman just, all of these things, she just move, Well, don't even talk about Bola. Don't even talk about Bola. Look at Roland Bola up there sitting still, It says a lot about the NNP and how they see Keith Mitchell. You hear me? It says a lot. But this thing is common sense. But I have been saying for a long time, the NNP supporters, the majority of them, they go to these meetings and they don't listen. They don't. They're quick to take some gossip or some old talk and run with it. But when it comes to substance, so Keith saying that he blocking out and they clapping, they applauding. It's I mean, Roland Bola is the General Secretary of NNP. The man is moving, Well, Kate Lewis, she took a really long time to even make a move. But you see, folks, I am saying all of this because the NNP put out a release, and that release is not accurate. It's not a correct account of what took place. It's not a correct account. And they believe that people are stupid. We all know that Keith Mitchell is 78 or almost 80 years. The guy is not young. And we also know that going in an environment like that, school, if you don't have proper, fresh breeze, it's not an AC room to say it's an AC room and that kind of thing. It's a school. So if it's humid, if it's a bit hot in there, there's a great probability that could actually, you could actually faint, you could actually get sick if it's a bit hot. And for a man that age, there's a great probability that it could affect him more. So the account that the NNP put out there, in my belief, is not an accurate account of what took place. Maybe they're trying to save face. Maybe they want people to have sympathy and pity, and nothing wrong with that. I sympathize with with this guy. I pity the guy. I wish him speedy recovery and so on. I mean, it's sad because a good dancer knows when to exit the stage. He served, or he been the MP, the member of parliament for that constituency for 40 years. 40 years. 40 years. Going on to 41. Come on. You've been the prime minister for 23 years and a half out of that 40. 23 years and a half. What more? What more do you want? What more can you achieve? What more you fighting for? And some people are not mature enough to put Keith Mitchell sit down and say, hey, back off. Right? Slow down. You have served already. Exit with a lick of grease while it's still there. Exit. What you're fighting up for? What you're trying to prove by going in Happy Hill and faint off on a stage? What you're really trying to prove? What you're fighting for? You have $19 million. $19 million. Huh? It's sad. Very, very sad. Yeah. It is sad. And I'm saying all of this because those NNP, they're out there. And in fact, they would attack me. They would say all manner of things about me. They would say, well, Kem Jones is wishing bad and Kem Jones is, laughing and all kind of stuff. And I know all these things are not true. Because I'm not perturbed, I'm not worried about them. No, because they are not getting anywhere. You see? But we have to be mature enough to call a spade and say it as is. You serve long enough. Step aside and give another person the opportunity to serve. It is simple as that. What more do you want? What more do you want out of this? Enjoy your latter years. Travel, spend time with the people who you cherish and love the most. It's what it is. It's simple as that. A good dancer knows when to get off the stage. Because the same people who applaud you when you were dancing and they fed up with you not getting off the stage, then they would start to boo you. They would boo you down the stage. Look at Keith Rowley. The guy step aside. You could say what you want about him. He step aside while as prime minister, you're going to retirement, while as a prime minister, not in opposition. It's simple as that. It is sad. Sad. And no one will tell me how to operate this program. No one. Because on the NNP program is what they're saying. Even in the room, in the meeting, you have NNP supporters applauding when Keith Mitchell say again, he feel he blacking out. They're applauding, they're clapping. His supporters. Right? And if that had happened to some other people on the NDC side, those NNP supporters, because the majority of them cannot read, write, or reason, they would be applauding and glad. I know what I'm talking about. I pity the guy. I feel sorry for the guy. I'm telling you, what more do you want? What more do you want to achieve that you couldn't achieve in 40 years of public service? What more? It's a pity that you have to reach to that level to go on a stage and faint off and national TV, and it's just sad. Very, very sad. But so the NNP trying to do some damage control putting out this statement and that statement, and at the end of the day, people saw this thing in real time, and we all are sorry for the guy, right? We wish him all the best. We wish him speedy recovery. But what more do you want to achieve? What more? In 40 years? You had 41 years or so of public service. You've been at the top. What more can you achieve? Grenada doesn't have a president for life or a whatever for life. It is a pity. But here it is. Last night, Keith Mitchell started off this very meeting telling a big lie. And I played it for you. He started off the meeting telling this lie.
In answering a question of to account for the $10,000 that we get every month to help people in the constituency, he said he's not going to account to the parliament for the money spent. In other words, it is his $10,000 and he could spend it how he wants. But the message in that is serious, because if you, the Prime Minister, is making such a statement, you could imagine what your members will do. So he's sending a serious message of lack of accountability. I wonder how Brother Timman Thomas could sit there after he talked so much about accountability, transparency, and good governance, and his Prime Minister would make a statement like this. I wait to hear from others, people like him.
Yeah, so that was the first big lie Keith Mitchell told at that gathering, right? So let's take it over again, and I'll play for you what the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell said regarding this $10,000.
In answering a question of to account for the $10,000 that we get every month to help people in the constituency, he said he's not going to account.
You damn lie. You lie. He never said so. You damn lie. And that's before he fainted. That's before Keith almost collapsed at that meeting.
To the parliament for the money spent.
You lie.
In other words, it is his $10,000 and he could spend it how he wants.
You lie. So let me play for you what the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell had to say. You know, the guy just lying open like this, you know. Openly like this.
Whether it's support for glasses and medical assistance, support for small businesses, we are doing all of this in St. David's. But I pause here, Mr. Speaker, to say that I may invite the residents and the constituents of St. David's to come down to the Parliament building and to protest on their behalf, because as the Prime Minister and a Member of Parliament for St. David's, I am yet to be paid this much talked about $10,000 constituency allowance. And it's not a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker. I want us to appreciate something. I'm the Member of Parliament for St. David's. I happen to be in the party that won the most seats and was the political leader at the time I was made the Prime Minister. There are three branches of the state: the Parliament, the Executive, and the Judiciary. The Executive is responsible to the Parliament. The Parliament is not responsible to the Executive. So when the Executive passed into law at last budget that a $10,000 constituency allowance should be given to an MP, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to open no bank account to get the $10,000. Whether it's $10,000 in cash, whether it's $10,000 in check, you need to give me the money so that I can represent and help support the people of St. David's. And I can account for the money, whether it's cash, whether it's check, because the same thing everybody else have to do. If I spend it, I get a receipt for it. And I notice there's talk about we appreciate it. I haven't heard a single report as to how this money has been spent by members on the other side, which they got. 10 by 12 is 120,000. We're going into the 15th month. But they ain't come in and say how they spend the money. The Speaker may have it, but account to your people. Explain to them what you've done with the $10,000 that the Parliament passed into law and said you will get it. So for the record, I have not received any funding to support my constituents in St. David. And all of what I've done here is through the kind support and generosity of the private sector, international partners, individuals in the constituency, people in the diaspora, and in many cases, the Prime Minister's salary, which goes directly into supporting the constituents of St. David. So I am saying, Mr. Speaker, since my name is Susu, in my capacity as a member of parliament, if I have to sue the executive to get me $10,000, I will sue the executive on behalf of the members to an MP. Mr. Speaker, I don't need to open no bank account to get the $10,000. Whether it's $10,000 in cash, whether it's $10,000 in check, you need to give me the money so that I can represent and help support the people of St. David's. And I can account for the money, whether it's cash, whether it's check, because the same thing everybody else have to do. If I spend it, I get a receipt for it. And I notice there's talk about we appreciate it. I haven't heard a single report as to how this money has been spent by members on the other side, which they got. 10 by 12 is 120,000. We're going into the 15th month. But they ain't come in and say how they spend the money. The speaker may have it, but account to your people.
Right. So this is what our Prime Minister said, you know. So Keith Mitchell started off because our Prime Minister is saying, I can account for the money. I don't need to open a bank account to account for the money. No, I can account for it because even if you put it in a bank account, I still have to account for it. Even if you give me a check, I still have to account for it. This thing is kind of common sense. You have to have receipts. You have to have, you know, evidence that you spend it here, there, anywhere. That is simply what he's saying, right? And he said he could account for it. But Keith Mitchell went in that same place where he almost collapsed or fainted there at Happy Hill School and said this.
In answering a question of to account for the $10,000 that we get every month to help people in the constituency, he said he's not going to account to the parliament for the money spent.
Folks, this is what you heard our beloved Prime Minister say a while ago. This is what you heard the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell said. I mean, it's amazing. Keith, too damn lie. He like to lie too much, right? You hear that's how he opened up this thing in Happy Hill School, you know.
In answering a question of to account for the $10,000 that we get every month to help people in the constituency, he said he's not going to account to the parliament for the money spent. In other words, it is his $10,000 and he could spend it how he wants.
That is what you just heard the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell said. I mean, that's what Keith does. He goes to these meetings and he spread a lot of lies and more lies. Right? Not just a whole pile of lies.
Whether it's support for glasses and medical assistance, support for small businesses, we are doing all of this in St. David's. But I pause here, Mr. Speaker, to say that I may invite the residents and the constituents of St. David's to come down to the Parliament building and to protest on their behalf, because as the Prime Minister and a Member of Parliament for St. David's, I am yet to be paid this much talked about $10,000 constituency allowance. And it's not a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker. I want us to appreciate something. I'm the Member of Parliament for St. David's. I happen to be in the party that won the most seats and was the political leader at the time I was made the Prime Minister. There are three branches of the state: the Parliament, the Executive, and the Judiciary. The Executive is responsible to the Parliament. The Parliament is not responsible to the Executive. So when the Executive passed into law at last budget that a $10,000 constituency allowance should be given to an MP. Mr. Speaker, I don't need to open no bank account to get the $10,000. Whether it's $10,000 in cash, whether it's $10,000 in check, you need to give me the money so that I can represent and help support the people of St. David's. And I can account for the money, whether it's cash, whether it's check, because the same thing everybody else have to do.
Right. So you heard there, and I can account for the money, whether it's check, whether it's cash, because it's the same thing everybody have to do. When they spend it, they have to have a receipt, they have to have those things.
If I spend it, I get a receipt for it. And I notice there's talk about we appreciate it. I haven't heard a single report as to how this money has been spent by members on the other side, which they got. 10 by 12 is 120,000. We're going into the 15th month. But they ain't come in and say how they spend the money. The speaker may have it, but account to your people. Explain to them what you've done with the $10,000 that the parliament passed into law and said you will get it. So for the record, I have not received any funding to support my constituents in St. David. And all of what I've done here is through the kind support and generosity of the private sector, international partners, individuals in the constituency, people in the diaspora, and in many cases, the Prime Minister's salary, which goes directly into supporting the constituents of St. David. So I am saying, Mr. Speaker, since my name is Susu, in my capacity as a member of parliament, if I have to sue the executive to get me $10,000, I will sue the executive on behalf of the members.
So that is what the Prime Minister said. But Keith Mitchell, and you know, I'm playing these folks because you see when you're lying, don't play with it, you know. That's what Keith Mitchell said.
In answering a question of to account for the $10,000 that we get every month to help people in the constituency, he said he's not going to account to the parliament for the money spent. In other words, it is his $10,000 and he could spend it how he wants. But the message in that is serious, because if you, the Prime Minister, is making such a statement, you could imagine what your members will do. So he's sending a serious message of lack of accountability. I wonder how Brother Timman Thomas could sit there after he talked so much about accountability, transparency, and good governance, and his Prime Minister will make a statement like this. I wait to hear from others, people like him.
Yeah, so that's Keith Mitchell up there. He was up there. That's before he fainted or almost collapsed. So, you know, Keith Mitchell is a pathological liar. He lies. And he believes by doing these things, he will get somewhere, but he's taking advantage of his supporters because the majority of his supporters cannot read, write, or reason. They just can't. They're not able to do that. So he says these things, they run with it, not even knowing the truth. And I remember giving you that joke, a guy who went to school with him, who knows him very well. They both became professionals in different fields. They're both academically sound. And he came back here, he put on the news, and he heard Keith Mitchell saying certain things. And he said, that doesn't make sense. What this man is saying there is foolishness. So he saw him sometime down the road and he said, but last night I saw you on the news and what you were saying there doesn't make sense. And it's alleged that he turned around and tell the guy, that was never meant for you. That was never meant for you. That was meant for my supporters. So his supporters, because they know how vulnerable the supporters are. They're just not able to read, write, or reason. So they just go with everything, and you wonder, and you feel sorry for them. But this guy, he knows better. He knows that what he's saying is not true. And that's just one, you know. There are umpteen other things, that the statements he made there, that is totally false. Totally false. When he said that lie, It just turned me off, right? Just turned me off, which is really, really sad. Really sad. But I still wish him speedy recovery. Still wish him all the best. And I hope he can bounce back and get back on his feet again.
Today's visit to the former Windfresh juice and ice cream factory in St. David, as well as here at Mr. Antoine's rum making factory, is really for us to, I think, first of all, touch base with a lot of the persons who are in the space to find out what are the challenges they face, what is going well, what is not going well, how can the government work better with them, and also to highlight them as examples of successful businesses and the potential that exists in agro-processing. And to discover what are some of the things we need to do, and particularly in this visit, the focus on science, research and development related to our herbal products and how we can use those in foods, in alcohol, in other areas like medicine and so on is critical. So it's first to reassure them of our support for them, and then second for us to explore the enormous potential for growth and development in that sector.
So one can consider this trip as extremely meaningful and extremely rich as we discuss and resolve for ourselves the latest developments that are taking place within our agro-processing industry and the extent to which we can proceed to develop our agro-processing industry here in Grenada. So with the very first trip at the Natchez agro-processing plant, we were able to see the actual process of juice making and the extent to which we can now build on that. And we also went to visit our own agro-processing plant in Natchez. I was quite happy with the developments that are taking place in terms of the rebuilding of the plant. The infrastructure work is being done. We will then move to improve on the inside and to install all of the equipment that we have received in conjunction with the World Bank Food Reduction Project. And that will be a major achievement. Once that plant is up and running, our agro-processors will be able to produce the products at a much better quality.
The Ministry of Agriculture is looking to pilot a shared space agro-processing facility in Lackalone to support small agro-processors who may not have the capacity, whether it's from things like electricity costs or just the machines and so on that are required, not just to produce, but obviously things like packaging and bottling. So we'll be looking at that. We also want to get the agro-processors to be more united and to be able to share resources and minimize some of the cost implications that oftentimes put them out of business if you try and do it yourself. So electricity obviously is a major factor. Bottling and labeling is also a major factor, and marketing is also one. Quality control, sanitary conditions, all of those things. So we want to be able to make sure that places like the Bureau of Standards, the Produce Chemist Laboratory, can work closer with our processors and retail providers so that we make sure that we can actually scale up or have niche markets and that we meet international standards so that we can particularly export their products as well.
At this visit here at the Woodman factory, of course we are quite impressed to see the manner in which our natural plants are being used in the agro-processing industry. The value of our plants is being manifested in what is being produced here. And again, the quality of the product that we see here, the whole processing process that we see here, it's really encouraging for us. I think we just need to go a bit further, conduct more research and development in our country, create the conditions for more research and development in our country.
Yes. So to, well, our beloved Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and the Honorable Lennox Andrews and the team. I see P.S. Bagwan and so on there. They visited the agro-processing plants, seeing what they can do to expand, what they can do to enhance it, which is really good. That is what we want. We want to see more of that as we move forward. So kudos, big up there, your whole self. All right, the NDC chapter in Canada.
Get ready for a day of excitement and fun with the NDC Canada chapter. Join us for an unforgettable bus trip to the stunning Falls View Casino in Niagara Falls on Saturday, April 12th.
Lucky for you, my friend.
It's a day filled with luck, laughter, and a thrilling 50-50 draw, all while supporting a great cause. For just $50 per person, you'll receive $35 in casino credit to kickstart your adventure. Pickups are easy. We'll be at the Scarborough Town Center YWCA at 12:30 p.m. Sheridan Mall at Jane and Wilson at 1 p.m. and Square One between Walmart and the TD Bank at 1:30 p.m. Then we'll depart from Niagara Falls at 7:45 p.m. Don't miss out. E-transfer your payment to ndcgroupcan@gmail.com to ensure your spot today. For more information, contact Bernadette at 416-347-2199, Kino at 647-242-9256, Robert at 647-859-4142, or Louise at 905-865-1027. Book your seat and get ready for a fantastic day at the Falls View Casino with the NDC Canada chapter. Fun, luck, and a great cause await you.
So I encourage the folks out there in Canada to support this venture, support this event. My good friend, Miss George, Sherry George, I know you all have your regular market.
Are you looking for fresh local produce, unbeatable bargains, and a real taste of community spirit? Then the Wester Hall Pop-Up Vendors Market is where you need to be. Every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., this vibrant market, set up right across from the Wester Hall Post Office, brings together vendors offering everything from provision to CMOS to clothing, food, drinks, and much more. But there's something else. Bailey's Funeral Home will also be on site, giving visitors a chance to sign up for their society plan or make payments right there on the spot. So if you're in the area, don't miss it. Great deals, local flavors, and a sense of community, all in one place.
Yes, so that's very good there. And the St. David Women's they're having a breakfast with a difference. All right, that breakfast is on March the 29th at the Corinth Community Center. Breakfast from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. They have a thrift shop there too. All right, so you'll get little things at a reduced cost. So breakfast, saltfish sauce, smoked herring, fish cake, traditional saltfish, boiled eggs, fried jacks, barbecue chicken, bakes, fried roast coconut, plantains, fried cuckoo, fried breadfruit, and ground provision, cocoa tea, local tea. Check them out. Tanya Log, $5 and $10. Potato pudding, live music. I mean, the vibes go nice. Check them out at the St. David Community Center on the 29th. All right, of March. So thank you very much there, Catherine Pascal, Miss Pascal. Thank you for that there. So again, I want to say, let's remain focused. We have a lot to achieve together. Everything will fall into place step by step by step. Let's continue to work harder and smarter. The budget debate will continue today in the Senate. Today it will continue. So quite a number of people will be tuned into that too. So please, if you have time, tune in, listen to the debate in the Senate. All right? So, folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I will be back with you tonight, starting at 8 in the PM, God's willing. I look forward to us continuing the conversation.